इंग्लिश एक्सटैटिक भाई, उन्होंने तो नदियां बहा दी होंगी कुछ चीजों की जिसको लोग मैच के बाद पीते हैं. Because they've won, they've beaten that, they've got rid of that Germany. I feel connection in the video we just showed you right now, because the man who was lifting Jurgen Klopp, the imposter, or the person who was imitating Jurgen Klopp, is the one and only John Johnson, who's played a lot of time in India with ATK, with Bengaluru. Johnson is happy. The English are happy. At least ये लोग अभी तो ये सोच रहे हैं क्वार्टर फाइनल में पहुंच गए हैं तो घर तो आ ही रहा है. The stats being this, that England has gotten over the Germany hoodoo after 1966. They've beaten them in a major competition. Also, the first that England have won a game in the Euro knockouts in regulation time. So it hasn't gone into extra time, it hasn't gone into penalties. They won it in the 90 minutes and they won it 2-0 versus Germany. Thank you so much for joining us on a brand new episode of 420 grams on our Euro coverage. We're joined today by some serious talkers of the game. Legend of the sport, friend of the show, former India captain Randy Singh is in the house with us. Randy bhai, good to see you. Nice to see that you're supporting England with your white t-shirt.
Still not coming home, brother.
No, not coming home. Randy bhai, आपने अभी तो शुरू किया है, अभी हम build up कर रहे हैं, फिर end में लाएंगे. It's not coming home. We're also joined by Bengaluru United's head coach Richard Hood. Richard, good to have you with us as always, sir.
Good to be here, bhai.
And just before we go anything, go ahead and talk about England. A moment's silence for my brother Siddhant, जिन्होंने अपनी दूसरी टीम, फिर उनकी तीसरी टीम और फिर उनकी चौथी टीम, 4 के 4 टीमें बाहर हो गई हैं. सर, स्वीडन भी बाहर होगी जनाब. अब कुछ तो आपने मातम बनाया होगा, गम के आंसू कुछ गिराए होंगे.
मैं, अगर आप मुझे मौका देंगे लेटर ऑन इन द शो, मैं एक कहानी सुनाऊंगा जिसके तहत मेरी चौथी टीम भी है.
ये कौन सी? बांग्लादेश मत बोल देना भाई, हैं? क्योंकि वो पहुंच गए थर्ड राउंड क्वालिफायर एशियन कप के.
I'll leave it as a surprise. If it comes up, it comes up. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
शर्म करो यार, 4 टीमें बाहर होगी, अब एक और टीम को सपोर्ट
यार. मजेदार तो बात ये है ना, इतना रिमूव्ड, इतना न्यूट्रल होने की.
अच्छा, किसी को भी सपोर्ट कर दो कभी भी, सही है. रणडी भाई, just imagine the pressure and the kind of pressure that's released, right? I know at the end of the day you only reach the quarterfinal, sir. अभी तो बहुत लंबी सीढ़ी आगे बाकी है to actually bring that trophy home. But एक होता है hoodoo. You haven't beaten Germany. It is Germany. Germany is the one who's always foiled them in these major tournaments. In that sense, a lot of pressure would have been released after a victory like that, irrespective of how you may have achieved it. You won the game and you got rid of that hoodoo.
Yeah, I think it was a big win for England. You can see from the amount of celebration जो किया है, you can see from the celebration that कितना उन्होंने wait कर रहा था for this win. Even though, you know, after losing in all the top tournaments, they have lost almost all the time. I think 57 years or 67 years after in a major tournament. So you can see people have been waiting for a very long time, and it was a good win. Even though I feel the match could have gone either ways. You know, those missed chances from Germany, England were relying on their set plays. Agar ho gaya to ho gaya, and you can see from the first 11 they put 2 defensive midfielder. You can see that agar हम लोग अपना compact खेलेंगे, अगर हो गया तो हो गया, आगे में जो 3 भेजकर, you know that. So we can see the game was going for a draw. Yeah, you know, it was almost a draw match if you see chances created by Germany also at the same time. But anyway, Warner was not wearing his scoring boots for many months now. Those kind of ball are the ball. It's a bread and butter for the striker. For a good striker, those ball will straight into the net, and we can see the miss from Muller. So yes, if we go by England, you know, I think it's a good win, but they are lucky again. For England, साथ दे रहा है, you know, luck भी साथ दे रहा है, and you need to win a tournament like this, you need some kind of luck. And yesterday, and again, you see, they are going to play against Ukraine. They are not going to play against Italy. They are not going to play against Denmark. They are not going to play against Spain. So just imagine, you know, all due respect to Ukraine, they have fought, they have played really well, but you know, you getting a quarterfinal to play against Ukraine, I think that's a good sign that at least semi-final तक तो chances बोल सकता.
सर, मैं तो अंदाजा लगा के बैठा हूँ, हमारे भाई की 5वीं टीम यूक्रेन ही है, वो बाद में फेंकेगा बॉम्ब यूक्रेन का ही, मैं जानता हूँ उसको बड़ी अच्छी तरह. But Richard, Renedy भाई, perfect in what he said, because first 15-20 minutes, the way the game started, वो कहते हैं ना, player थोड़ा सुन होता है when the occasion takes over. वो English player में दिखा, and Germany was on, and they should have probably capitalized. They didn't capitalize then, and then you sort of let England come back into the game.
Yeah, I guess वो पहले 15 minutes, like, I think we were talking pre-game as well. The amount of passes Germany was stringing together, playing between the lines, England giving them a bit too much respect, letting them come into the half and things. क्योंकि वो हमेशा वो pace का भी threat रहता है. That what if Germany on a slight break, you leave space in behind, then you've got all these quick guys to pass into. लेकिन हाँ, like it looked like Germany came in there to control, and also Matt Hummels. I mean, the sort of performance we had. अगर आप वो luck का बात कर रहे हो कि saving. Saves that he had, मतलब intervening that interception into Harry Kane and stuff. तो उसी से लग रहा था कि everything is sort of tilting towards these guys when you're possibly amongst the most experienced outfield player coming in there and giving that sort of performance. So after 15 minutes, yeah, it's tough to understand where exactly the odds sort of changed more towards England, and then Germany sort of letting go of the sort of display they put on, because they said England moved up the pitch a bit more. They started defending at the halfway line. They denied space that Muller and the other midfielder were getting to play into. So I think they realized themselves within the game, and
I think Cruz को उन्होंने काफी रोका फिर.
हाँ, तो ये बोल रहे हैं कि इनका कुछ 18 महीना गया था ये गेम के पीछे, मतलब the amount of data they had collected and things. आज ही एक आर्टिकल आया था एथलेटिक में, पढ़ नहीं पाया, but they said England's analytical team and the 18 months of work that went behind defeating England.
Sir, लगा तो नहीं.
Defeating Germany. हाँ.
पर लगा तो नहीं sir. मतलब both of you guys are part of coaching staffs. Both of you guys are now part of new age coaching staffs, where a lot of emphasis is given to data and a lot of homework, R&D on the opposition. So how much of it really goes out of the window when your first 15 minutes don't work for you? Because you've come with a certain plan. First 15 minutes did not work for you. So how much of that data suddenly just goes out of the window? Have you seen that happening in games? Or do you say, okay, plan A is not working, so I've got plan B, I've got plan C, I've got plan D, and then you start quickly thinking and moving like that?
वो 15 मिनट में मेरे को पता नहीं if you start abandoning all the data and plans that you've got. It's usually towards the end of the games, because the other day there was a good question ki the way I think Ukraine or some other team was playing, they said why couldn't they do that in the first 20 minutes, send everybody up, start bombing the ball on, because you saw that it Croatia versus Spain, तो ये पहले क्यों नहीं कर सकते हो? तो I think ये data और plan में very rarely can you account for the sort of temperament and mindset that is prevailing on the pitch. मतलब players को जो बताना था बता दिया, जिसके ऊपर काम करना था वो भी कर दिया, लेकिन how they respond to the occasion, like as national anthem is done, you start lining up and then you see these guys ahead of you. Or there was a good comment that in the Germany team there were 7 guys who won the UEFA Champions League over the last 2 seasons. So 7 guys who've done that, and then you see the collective international caps just between
4 World Cup winners as well.
Yeah, so 370 caps between Muller, Hummels and what's his name, Neuer. तो अगर ये experience सामने है तो maybe that 15 minutes का जो बात कर रहे हैं, maybe after 15 minutes the plan started falling into place. It wasn't that the plan never emerged till the 15th minute, but then 15-20 minutes onwards they started getting back to what they had prepared towards, and all those data points and things started to sort of form themselves into performances. So,
Annie bhai, like whenever you're playing Germany, and you know there's no secret to how they're going to come at you. You've got Gosens on the left, you've got Kimmich on the right. They're going to make sure they use the space. But उसने एक पत्ता खेला कि उसने वर्नर को खिला दिया बीच में, कहा कि भाई आप ये मत सोचो कि हम सिर्फ साइड से आएंगे, हमारे पास एक बंदा बीच में भी है, तो आप लगा दो बंदे बाहर, हम बीच में फिर गैप ढूंढेंगे. Randy Bhai was correct in saying that Werner was looking off color. That same Chelsea form he carried into that game as well. And you can't blame the guy who's playing his first game, that too, of the tournament. But in a sense, to stop the threat of Gosens and to stop the threat of Kimmich, the English did well in that department. They were set up in a way and they executed in them, not letting both. Dono zyada dikhe nahi in the game in terms of influencing the game yesterday for Germany.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know, if you consider how much data has been collected, and if you guys are saying the team has been working on it for 18 months, then I guess the expectation all along would have been that it would have been a very tight game with few chances, and maybe a game where you take advantage of mistakes that are made, and when you get those one or chances, you capitalize on those. So in that sense, I think Werner and Thomas Muller, obviously you will get into it later on in the show, both had the chances to score. So yeah, no doubt 2-0 win, clean sheet, job done, or hoodoo broken, all that. So no doubt they did a good job for sure, and stuck to the plan and stuck to their guns and got.
Ready, when you're playing 3-4-3. So he was coming a lot of criticism ki 3 at the back nahi khelna. I'm talking about England. 3-4-3 in this way to sort of counter what Germany is throwing at you. What he did was simple. आप 3-4-3 खेल रहे हो, मैं भी 3-4-3 खेलूंगा, and I'll counter you man for man. मैंने आपको जगह देना ही नहीं है. And sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't work also, because if you're not on and one man beats you, तो फिर opening मिल गई आपको वहाँ पे. But in that sense, that solidity at the back. If anyone talks about England and we're talking about Kane getting the headlines, Sterling getting the headlines, it's actually the defense that really put in a good shift throughout the game yesterday.
Yeah, if you see the game, what England has played yesterday, there were not only the 4 defenders or 3 defenders, there were 6, 7 men defending properly. So we have seen the kind of game they were playing even in first half also. So Germany they were allowing Germany to come up at least till the half line. And that's a game they played. I think by playing this, sometimes you win. It's not beautiful. They're not playing expensive game, but I think this has been working for England. So of course, for the supporters, yes, they're happy, but for the normal neutral viewers, I think they won't be too happy with this. But anyway, the coach, it's all about, in that level, it's all about winning the games, and they're getting. But I don't know how long they're going to. But let's see how long they can go.
Yeah, because the only thing, Richard, I found there is that, and this is probably a characteristic of a champion team, you guys would probably know this, is that if I am playing tactics pandering to what you're throwing at me, then I'm already on the back foot. I'm sorry. I am not backing what I'm bringing to the table. I am bringing something to negate you off the table. That is what I'm doing. But a champion team will say, this is what I have. Now you try stopping me if you can. And going forward like that.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of at least contemplation in terms of whatever England has thrown. ये 3-4-3 या formations का जो भी बात करेंगे, how we match up to them man for man or controlling the spaces and stuff. One is that Southgate has been at the receiving end for the style of football he's played so far. मतलब अभी group stages में जो खेला and all that, because it's not that it was a cautious approach. They've given up attacking for the sake of having more control in the game. So till 2021, not a single game did he play with 3 at the back. They had a few bunch of practice games that they had behind closed doors and things where they practiced this 3-man defense, and they had some success with it against Belgium in October. So ये एक ही बार successful हुआ है in a competitive format. So now to bring this up at such a big stage, and the other pressure also is that now if you look at the average English fan, अगर उसने Chelsea को, if he has seen your Liverpool winning the Premier League, if he has seen Man City winning the Premier League, or if they regularly watch Chelsea and stuff, it's led by German coaches, and they're playing, I mean, one obviously Guardiola, and even Manchester United fans, the bulk of where the players are coming from, everybody is playing this expansive style of football, attacking, go all out and stuff. So वो contrast ये अपने national team में लेके आने के लिए, that also requires a lot of courage in terms of abandoning what's giving you success at the club level. Now he's decided that, okay, take a more cautious approach, keep more people at the back, and it will come down to these sort of moments. मतलब the Harry Kane goal and Sterling goal, it will come down to this, because they value the clean sheet. अभी तक एक भी goal concede नहीं किया है ये tournament में. So वो रहने से always in the game, if you're looking at it from a cautious approach.
Randy, in that sense, if they do go far in this tournament and they're remembered for this tournament, they won't be remembered for playing beautiful football. They'll be remembered for playing structured football and sticking to what they're coming out.
I agree to some extent with Richard. You know why? Because you cannot play the beautiful game because they don't have time. The players need time to gel also.
But they have the players, Randy bhai. Foden hai, Grealish hai, Sancho hai.
Day in, day out, week in, week out to get that expensive type football. See, now when you are in the club, you are getting many, many months. You are getting months to work on. I can hear me. It got stuck.
Yeah, we can hear you, but.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I think he can't tell.
I don't think he can hear us.
But I guess, we got a sense of the point that he was trying to make, in the sense that, you get months and months to train, you get a pre-season, you get all of this stuff. Plus, you know that you're going to come back and play a similar kind of system next season as well, maybe if the coach is the same. And that doesn't happen with the national team. You get maybe a few days, a couple of friendly games in which to practice. Ready by your back, you can complete your point if you're ready and you can hear us. But I don't think so yet.
I don't think you can yet.
So that is basically, and your question was about not being remembered for the kind of football or not playing, right?
Yeah.
I think for neutral fans, definitely, man, that's the overriding factor, and that's why a lot of people who don't support England for any reason, either for nationality or whatever reasons, because they are English, or because they like watching English football and therefore it's logical in their heads to support the national team as well. Most people are saying the same thing, कि अगर आप ऐसी टीम के साथ इतने टैलेंट के साथ ऐसा फुटबॉल खेलेंगे तो फिर फायदा ही क्या है?
नहीं, but वो टैलेंट की कदर तो वर्ल्ड स्टेज पे ही आती है. टैलेंट अपने घर पे अपने क्लब पे जो भी हो, पर वो टैलेंट फिर आके वर्ल्ड स्टेज पे जब खेलेगा तब वो टैलेंट असल में टैलेंट होता है. या दैट इज द रियल टैलेंट टू टॉक अबाउट, एंड व्हिच इज वेयर आई फील ये अब उन लड़कों को वो खिला ही नहीं रहा. बट आई गेस रिचर्ड, इन अ सेंस, हैव यू एवर फेस्ड दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ सिचुएशन दैट you have these kind of boys who are superior technically, who have the ability to go one-on-one, who can win the individual game they can win. But as a collective, you're having to drop these boys because as a collective, that may not be suiting your team's goals going forward.
I think you come into this mentality. No, I'm not reflecting on anything that we've done because अभी तक 2 साल में एक knockout situation नहीं आया. But if you're facing elimination at the end of 90 minutes, you definitely lean towards what you've just described, that you emphasize the collective and sacrifice the guys who give you that bit of flair. But when you come up against organized teams, now one thing we've learned in this Euros is that favorites ka attack tab tak hi rahega till you make a mistake. When the favorites make one mistake, and then the other guys are more than capable of keeping them out completely. मतलब एक गलती के साथ ये लोग पूरा advantage उठा सकते हैं. तो that is amongst the biggest factors we've seen. तो I don't think how much of a fan says, as long as you win, you're doing everything right. There's no right or wrongs, right? तो Grealish को bench पे छोड़ दिया या Foden या जो कोई भी हो, at the end of the day, if they've gotten the results, I don't think people are complaining. You can see it in the celebrations as well. Stadium went mad, and whatever scenes that followed afterwards, it doesn't matter, bhai, as long as you win.
Fair point. Randy bhai, let's talk about the goal then. Grealish came in, had an instant impact. It was a very small pass, what he played. And then, of course, the nice cross in from Luke Shaw. And you have to give credit to Sterling for a boy who's not an out-and-out goal scorer, but he's always in goal-scoring positions. And this is something he's honed at Manchester City, I'm guessing, under Guardiola. And in this tournament, whenever he's got a chance in front of goal, and he's already got 3 goals for the tournament, easily for you, one of England's standout players of the tournament so far?
Yes, the performance is showing in almost in every match. He has scored 4 goals, I believe. 4?
Yeah, three goals.
So three goals. So you can see from all the important goals that he has been scoring. Even yesterday, it was the perfect, he liked those kind of balls. Yes, we can give credit to Grealish also for coming in there. It's just an easy pass. It's just an easy layoff to Luke Shaw. But to do that, to be there on time, it's all about, yes, Sterling, he took the ball really well, and the German midfielders were rushing, but at the same time, the run that he took, I think it's on the right time, with 1 second ahead or 1 second delayed, it could have been a goal and not a goal. So those kind of smart run, I think he's one of the best, and we have been seeing, even though last few months he has not been playing regularly in his club, but then we have seen in last year also for so many years the goals that he has scored, in all the making those kind of runs.
Yeah, this is why for me this England team, Annie bhai, was a little different. Firstly, both those crosses that led to the goals were very Renedy Singh-esque crosses from the left side. Curl, lower, upper.
I was never a good scorer, but at least the pass I can. So we have to give credit again. Very good goal, the second goal also. But the pass that, what do you call that? The speed of the pass.
Yeah.
It was not very fast, not very quick, or not very slow. So it has to be at the right time.
Right time.
But anyway, that's why they are getting so much. That's why they're getting well paid. They are well paid. So, and for that, in that level, that they have to do that, but they have to do it more. But the question is, why? I know you said that the England will win.
Sir, मैंने तो बोला था.
Even Richard was talking about, they are not playing expensive game, because the kind of thing that they are playing. But now against Ukraine, they will not open up. They will park the bus. But what will you do there? You have certain great individuals, but then England has to change their style of game again. So let's see how
they can do that. Well, I don't think they'll do that, Richard. You've just beaten a team you haven't beaten for eons of years, irrespective of what maybe Ukraine is doing. So England goes in as the dominant side, in that quarterfinal for
And
sure.
you see all the goals as well. मतलब अभी यही दो जो goals थे. You look at the space of operation that they've got.
Yeah.
The final pass came in from inside the box. It was crowded. To weigh that pass properly in those tiny spaces, and also the timing of passes, like Rennie bhai mentioned, उसको ज़्यादा तेज मारते defense settle हो जाता, keeper को मिल जाता, और slow होता. Just the orientation, all those manipulations that you have to do, और goals का desperation भी देख लो. Guys are absolutely throwing themselves at the end of it. मतलब Harry Kane का goal और Sterling का goal ऐसा नहीं है कि वो clinical tap and finish या traditional header या कुछ था. मतलब this requires, मतलब guys who are hell bent on putting everything through to get the ball at the back of the net. And that's what was missing for these guys as well. Germany, ये लोग बोल रहे थे after Miroslav Klose and Mario Gomez, they don't have a striker right now. मतलब guys who
Closer, what a player है.
हाँ, वो फिनिशिंग का तो मतलब मास्टर क्लास तो ले ही लेता था. स्पेशली ही वाज अ टूर्नामेंट प्लेयर. वो भी मतलब
Yeah, tournament player.
और these guys are incredible. And against Ukraine, what anyway, like अभी तक जो भी देखा, how they played against Scotland and Czech Republic, England का जो भी अभी तक performances रह चुका है, I doubt they're going to change it too much. But maybe the player compositions might change. Guys who can open up a tough, tight defense, that might change. And these guys lost a key player also, the one who got injured in the red card, Ukraine. So they will be even more conservative then. Because
very quickly, because we decided we're going to stick to time. Is it coming home? And by coming home, I mean, are they, because the route to the final, it's pretty relative. By Ukraine in the quarters, Denmark or Czech Republic in the semis. और अगर आप फाइनल पहुंच गए, then it's anyone's game on that day.
भाई लक साथ दे रहा है. लक साथ दे रहा है. इतना अच्छा टीम मिलने वाला नहीं है भाई. तुम स्पेन मिलने से तो 50-50 है. 50-50 बोल सकता है अभी. हाँ,
पर ये बोल रहा हूँ, ये लोग का जितना प्लेयर गिर गया, काफ, क्रैम्प, हैमस्ट्रिंग, ये सब पकड़ के, मतलब गेम भी ये लोग ने ऐसा नहीं है कि पूरा स्मूथली जीता है. मतलब खून पसीना भाके ये लोग ने जीता है. यूक्रेन थकेगा नहीं भाई, उतना तो मुझे पता है.
वही तो 130 मिनट खेलने के बाद तो आप समझ जाओ अभी प्लेयर का हाल क्या होगा. एंड रिकवरी ऑफ कोर्स यस दे हैव गॉट द बेस्ट फिजियो से लेकर ऑल टेक्निकल, बट इतना जल्दी रिकवर होने वाला नहीं है. एंड सो इंग्लैंड के पास तो भगवान भी साथ में दे रहा है, लेकिन भगवान भी कभी मिस्टेक कर देता है. कभी
हो जाता है कभी.
Annie bhai, was the cat out of the bag going to be that your पांचवी team is England now?
Bhai, it has to be actually. Because the only way to ensure, I'm going with the same kind of superstitious sentiment that Renedy just brought in. That because मेरी 4 टीमें तो आउट हो ही चुकी हैं. अब मैं अगर इंग्लैंड को पिक करूंगा तो वो भी जाएंगे बाहर, and that's guaranteed.
इंग्लैंड को पिक करो.
इंग्लैंड.
So are you saying when India was playing Bangladesh, you were picking Bangladesh to win? That's why India won?
It doesn't always work out like that, but in this tournament I've been taught a proper lesson.
But भाई draw देखो भाई, इससे बेहतर मौका नहीं मिलेगा इनके पास. इससे बेहतर मौका नहीं मिलना भाई. और वेम्बली में है सेमीफाइनल फाइनल.
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah, so I think we've been talking about this since the time the schedule for the tournament was out. That given the quality of the players they have, the kind of club football they're playing, and the draw, the fact that the semi, they'll get to play their group stage games, 2 of them at home, and then the latter stages as well. I'm not sure. Do they play the semi that's in Wembley, or does that get flipped around?
I don't think so.
They don't, right? Okay. But anyway, some sort of
next game is in Rome.
The
Ukraine game is in Rome.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's England वाले fans जो हो, जिस भी बिल में छुपे हो, जिस भी गुफाओं में आप 10-15 साल से छुपे हो, दिखे नहीं हो, निकल आओ बाहर दोस्त, क्योंकि इससे बेहतर मौका नहीं मिलेगा छाती फाड़ के, टी-शर्ट फाड़ के, नंगे घूमने का और जोर जोर से चिल्लाने का कि इंग्लैंड मेरी टीम है, क्योंकि इससे बेहतर मौका नहीं मिलने वाला है इनको टूर्नामेंट जीतने का. और मैं, देखो जी, आप कितना भी पेसिमिस्टिक बोल दो, मैं तो चाहता हूँ कि फाइनल में पहुंचे और वेम्बली में हारे. ओए होए होए, फिर आएगा मजा. कि इसके बाद जो फॉल आउट होगा, हमें कंटेंट मिलेगा 5 दिन के लिए बात करने के लिए. So that was about the game, guys, and I think everyone was spot on there. It was not the most spectacular of games, but England came with the job, came with the plan, and that plan worked, and they walked away as 2-0 winners. So credit to England for that. But the fallout generally post in England games, because there's so much press, there's so much media, there's so much hype, a lot of people are talking about it. The fallout of that game is a lot of people, Randy bhai, are calling it as redemption for Gareth Southgate, who prior to this tournament, of course, has also been backing the players he feels is going to do their job. which means the creative players like your Sancho hasn't seen a single minute. I mean, astonishing that, before this tournament, you think that Jadon Sancho wouldn't get to see a single minute in this tournament. Phil Foden is out after those 2 games. Phil Foden has no way back in. Grealish is coming off the bench. You're starting with Saka, Renedy Bhai's favorite player. Huh? Then who are the other guys? There's some other who are the other creative
Mount
players
is
in
there,
this?
Where come back. Mount is there, where's come back.
Mount is there as well. Mount is there. He's not starting with Mount. And Renedy Bhai, he said there's so much scrutiny to selection. Apparently, 6 hours before the game, the 11 got leaked. The 11 got leaked to the media, right? So just imagine the kind of scrutiny that there is within the entire team. Ki I have to keep it secure. I have to keep the 11 to myself. Ab wo wala system bhi aa gaya hai. He's saying it's a matter of people actually charging you with death if you get the wrong selection. So in that sense, you have to say redemption for him. He's backed these guys, and he's moving ahead, sir.
I think we must give credit to Southgate for what he has done as a coach. There are thousands of other football pundits or ex-player who has been saying you should play this, you should play that. But in spite of that, can you believe that Foden, the way the season that he had, Sancho, the season he had in Germany, and then they're still not making it to the 11. So the pressure he has got. But in life, we as a coach, I think we should go with our instinct. Otherwise, if you don't go to our instinct, if we lose, then that I have done my best. But if you go through the other extra coaches that they have, the football pundits, so-called, ex-player, and with so much of pressure in life, I think whatever Southgate is doing, of course, that's not a football I would love to play, but I would like my team to play. But at the same time, I think whatever he's doing, going with his own instinct, I think that's the best way, and it's working. And you can see the pressure that he had after the game. He himself said that, such a pressure.
Yeah, Richard, Renedy, how do you guys deal with this, man? So you are taking decisions for your team, right? You are in the best possible position and the best seat in the house to decide what is right for your team, right? Irrespective of what outside noises might be saying. You take decision and that decision doesn't go through, right? I mean, every decision is a 50-50 decision. Let's admit to it, because at the end of the day, there's a human involvement in it. So if that human is not up for it or whatever, so you are not vindicated through that decision, and people from outside saying, aha, see, hum to keh rahe the, aapko ye karna chahiye. Do you guys get affected, or do you say, I'm still going to back myself? Just cut out everything from the outside. I'm still going to back my gut and go ahead with what I'm doing.
I think Renedy Bhai is much better equipped to answer this because he's genuinely faced pressure and played in Bengal and all that. तो आप उधर भी बता सकते हो भाई कितने experts पैदा हो जाते हैं डार्बी के पहले, डार्बी के बाद. So how did you guys deal with it?
Yeah, I think because pressure when like Richard said, East Bengal, Mohan Bagan, everyone is a coach. All due respect, they're lovely fans, but at the same time, there's a lot of pressure if you lose. But here, I would, to your question, I feel we should go with our own instinct, like I've always said. And in my life, people may say, whoever, you should play this, you should play that. And I know that in Indian football, also in many clubs, there are coaches who couldn't make the first 11. There are a lot of the men officials are making the first 11, and I know that it does happen. And when your bosses and even in not only in India, it's everywhere.
Everywhere,
like, I've seen a Chinese one overweight Chinese guy or the Chinese owner's son playing in first 11 or something. So you can see the amount of pressure. The one, अगर आपको पैसा मिल रहा है वो मालिक से, उसका वो बोल रहा है बेटा को खिलाओ, अभी आप क्या करोगे? Either you have to think your family है घर में चलाने के लिए, so these are the kind of pressure that you have. But still, as a coach, sometimes I think we should go with our own gut feeling that's because you have been working day in day out for years and years for what, and then the same people, अगर आप कुछ खराब mistake होता है तो the same people will walk away in 2-3 minutes. वो लोग कुछ ध्यान बोल दिया थोड़ा देर के लिए,
उनका क्या है?
And the one who is going to suffer is the coach. So he has to take his own decision. Yeah, that's very, very important. Yes, you can talk with your assistant for sure. That you have been doing. I'm sure in return he's been working for a long time also. So you have people who you trust, but at the end of the day, the decision you have to make your own decision.
Yeah, I think other factor in this team selection also, you read the players' comments. अभी वो euro.com में जो भी comments आते हैं players की तरफ से, they've taken total ownership and backed the coach up in this. मतलब वो लोग बोल रहे हैं, so many people said we couldn't do it. We have to prove so many people wrong. they questioned us being on the pitch and things. मतलब 2-3 players का comments जो आया था तो खुन्नस भी है.
But that also works now in getting the collective together.
Of course it does.
It's you versus the rest.
Yeah, siege mentality definitely works, especially knockout phase में कि nobody really wants us to do this, and वो दिख भी जाता है भाई. मतलब you read and immediately the same writer who said that this team is doomed, next day they write a article praising your shrewdness and ये जो तुम tactical mastermind
or anchor also.
Everyone has to survive. We can say everyone has to survive. The writer has also to survive. जैसे anyone has to survive. अब किसी को तो support करना पड़ेगा anyone को after going 4 mistake के बाद. So everyone has to survive.
That's true. No, I get your point. I totally get it. We're called Dal Badaloos for a reason. So that's there. But Annie bhai, you were up last night watching the second game as well, because that was a cracker of a game, bhai. Sweden versus Ukraine, and Forsberg. For me, one of the players, the way he was playing. But the Ukraine team, that first goal, how good a pass was that, man? I know we're going gaga over Pogba's pass, outer, but to execute that pass, see, but the thing is, when you have larger distance to cover, sort of in terms of hitting the ball, it's easier to go for the ball. Yeah. But you saw the kind of distance he has, so he has to be very nimble, nimble-footed to get that flight, and it just fell like that for Zinchenko. Then, of course, what a volley, half volley.
Yeah, a beautiful ball, man. Like, I don't know how the guys on comms again didn't see that this was what he was trying to do. I'm a bit confused about what's happening on the commentary at the Euros, to be honest. I think maybe they're also sitting at home and doing it, possibly. Because of all the travel that might be involved otherwise.
It's celebrated and come na, after England.
Yeah, possibly.
What a pass. For me, that was one of the passes of the tournament. It's not the pass of the tournament.
Yeah, man. And you can see, when you see the side angle, you can see the guy knows exactly where he's putting the ball and what he's setting up. And then obviously the Zinchenko connected perfectly, and no chance for Olsen, who for me has been, I think, although Pickford had a great game yesterday, our producer was saying this, हम काफी biased हैं, हम goalkeepers के बारे में बात ही नहीं करते. But anyway.
कौन है वो?
हाँ? So Robin Olsen for me has been one of the standout keepers of this tournament, and I like, apart from, of course, maybe PC team going out, the thing I was sad about was that he went out without a chance to have a crack at a penalty shootout. But I mean, I was so I'm not so surprised in a sense, but like excited by the way Shevchenko is shaping this squad, the kind of talent they've got, global level talent, and I don't know how much time we have. मैंने थोड़ा एक कहानी सुनानी थी यूक्रेन.
सुनाओ सर, सुनाओ. अपना ही शो है, अपना घर है, अपना इंटरनेट है.
So basically, the first international, proper, like high-level international game that I ever got to watch was Russia versus Brazil in 1996. This was, I think, they were just after maybe the Atlanta Olympic Games. So it was a pretty killer team on both sides, right? And so this was just after the Soviet Union had dissolved, and what the core of that team, which reached the I think in 1988, the Soviet Union won the final of the Euros. This was just before the Soviet Union disintegrated. And
against Holland, it was where Marco van Basten got the best goal.
Yeah. So in those years, Dynamo Kiev was the biggest club in the entire Eastern Bloc. And most of that, I think 7 or 8 of the starters in that 88 Euro final were Ukrainians. So धीरे-धीरे, but हुआ क्या है, FIFA decided because of politics and whatever, that Russia will inherit the history of the Soviet Union in the context of FIFA. So a lot of Ukrainian players who born in Ukraine or had origin in Ukraine decided that they will not play for Ukraine even though they were eligible, but they will play for Russia because the 94 World Cup was a major factor. So I think you guys will, of course, remember, a lot of your contemporaries, Kanchelskis, Nikiforov, Viktor Onopko, all of these guys. So this was the squad that was playing, and there was a certain youngster by the name of Ronaldinho, who was also in that squad. This is the guy who is now lovingly referred to as Mota Ronaldo, by the way. I don't know how many people know it, but at that time, there were two Ronaldos in the squad, and because number 9 Ronaldo 9 was younger, he used to go with the name Ronaldinho on his shirt.
Yeah, I know that.
So in that, I mean, that was the first, and I think, yeah, and maybe he was 19 years old. So the first international goal that I got to see was Yuri Nikiforov penalty for Russia, even though he's a Ukrainian guy. In that game, Stanislav Cherchesov, who's the current Russian coach, was the goalkeeper for the Russians. And then Ronaldo scored the equalizer in like the 85th, 88th minute or something. This was at Dynamo Stadium in Moscow. So that is my 5th team, 6th team story. And how Ukraine has played a major part in the love of the game.
भाई हमें लगा कि पता नहीं क्या कहानी आने वाली है कि आप जाके मिले किसी को, आपने जाके आपको कुछ वर्ड्स ऑफ एडवाइस शेफचेंको से मिले, द यंग शेफचेंको से, पर यहाँ तो आपने अपने नंबर बनाए.
No, so Shevchenko is interesting because at that time ये लड़ाई चल रही थी, right? कि यूक्रेन के लिए खेलना चाहिए इन लोग को या रशिया के लिए खेलना चाहिए, and mostly they all picked Russia. And it was Shevchenko, and he led that new generation of kind of Ukrainian talent that then almost got to qualifying for major tournaments, and now obviously he's the coach. So that kind of ties the whole story.
I think you've been talking about Ukraine from the start of the tournament. You've been pretty consistent that they've had a pretty good run into the tournament. Would I be right in saying Ukraine and to some extent Czech Republic, they look like tournament teams to me? That when they want to attack, they have that sort of, they have that force with them to attack. But also when they want to shut shop and they want to just break everything down, they can do that. And, teams who have those 3-4 characteristics in them, they look like good tournament teams. And thus, when they're playing against the so-called big boys, they don't look that flustered. Even in their group, they didn't look flustered even once.
Hey, hello.
Yeah, Randy, bhai, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. So for me, Czech Republic is a much more complete team.
Yeah.
Ukraine, yes, Ukraine. Of course, Shevchenko and Zinchenko. We know that the goal he have scored yesterday. What a lovely left footer. He playing for Man City, playing for the best team of the world. Yes, they do have 1 or 2 great individuals, but as a team, they still have to play better to win games. Of course, they have reached the quarterfinal. But I doubt that they will go ahead of that because they are lacking that great individuals to score in with the better teams. But for me, Czech Republic, they are a complete side which will be very, very tough.
So that means if
Ukraine, they're better than Ukraine for me. Of course, no doubt Ukraine, they have fought well. I know. Siddhant, love Ukraine like anything, but
it's his 6th team. Uski chhati team hai.
Yeah, but Czech Republic, I must say, Czech Republic is a better team than Ukraine.
So Richard, in other words, basically, if Ukraine won't send them home in the quarters, the Czechs will do the job in the semis for sure. Because sir, if I had to pick, let's just show you the quarterfinal fixtures, guys, because the quarterfinal fixtures are upon us.
Can I do a poll before you get to the quarterfinal fixtures? Was it a red card or not?
100% red.
100% red.
Yeah.
Ready?
Which one? The Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yes. You see the I've seen the picture how he was going in a.
No, 100% right. Yeah, total right. The follow through, you see. So just because you catch the ball doesn't mean you have no responsibility on follow through, भाई. उसका तो पैर गया है भाई. ये घुटने वाला, तोड़ने वाला टैकल था वो.
तो क्या कैसे हाउ डू
बैंड होके पीछे चला गया भाई.
हां भाई, मतलब तोड़ दिया पूरा.
नहीं, but how do you stop yourself from how do you check out of that follow through?
भाई बॉल का बाउंस देखो, पांव किधर जा रहा है, मतलब वो सब जजमेंट करोगे. मतलब बाउंसिंग बॉल पे आप पांव इतना ऊपर डाल रहे हो, you don't go in for those. मतलब अगर चांस नहीं है 50-50 है, you don't go in that hard and fast. मतलब रेड कार्ड है भाई, मतलब regardless of getting the ball or not.
Fair enough. The ref also took only like 10 seconds on looking at the replay to decide.
So and from the players' reaction, I mean, for people who've suffered an ACL, I felt थोड़ा बच गया वो, क्योंकि outside पे हुआ है उसको. It was on the outside. It was not right in the middle. So at least his outside didn't show any swelling. अक्सर क्या होता है कि वहाँ पे आपको पड़ाका पड़ता है ना, उसके बाद वो फुटबॉल बन जाता है वहाँ पे पूरा पूरा घुटना. So luckily उसके अगर outside पे हुआ then the recovery will be a lot faster, it will be a lot easier because the center point is the strongest point that holds the knee. So let's hope, क्योंकि भाई किसी का भी घुटना जाते हुए देखते ना, it gives you that kind of a reaction. Live example आपके सामने काफी बारी करवाया हुआ है. Really tough for them. So yeah, and भाई perfect. ये आप अपने football playing days के बारे में मत सोचो कि मैं जी ऐसे उड़ाता था follow through पे. ये वो वाला सीन नहीं है.
मैं तभी 90s की बात कर रहा हूँ ना भाई, तो सीन ही अलग था पूरा.
Okay, so let's just look at the quarterfinal draw very quickly, guys, before we end the show, and just get a word on what these games are like. Renati bhai, it's Belgium versus Italy. It's Denmark versus Czech Republic. It's England versus Ukraine, and it's Switzerland versus Spain. Right? Which one for you is the pick of the games?
Italy, Spain, Italy, Spain. Yeah, Belgium, Italy. I'll go for Italy. And then Spain and they're playing against
Switzerland.
Switzerland, of course. And I know that all the guys love Switzerland. You had three great supporters of Arsenal, but I'm sorry. I know. Spain will win for sure.
Spain will win for sure.
Yeah. And those two, and this will be a tough one. Of the best match we will be able to see is Denmark and Czech.
Exactly.
Very difficult to say. Very difficult to say. Now both the teams are playing. They play the team game. They don't have great individuals as like Ronaldo, Foden, but they are a great two teams. That will be a match to watch. I feel that. Team game. So
yeah, Richard. If you
England against England. So I don't want to say, but England will for sure.
Richard, if you've seen the trend of this tournament, so far, whenever the big boys play, it's been like a very cagey kind of scene. But when the underdogs are playing, they're like sort of playing with a bit of abandon, that there's nothing to lose, go for it. But in that sense, I know Randy Bhai is saying the Denmark versus Czech Republic will be a solid game, but that's more a game of equals, right? And suddenly when you have that in your head, it's a game of equals, then you tend to think, I have lots to lose. As opposed to I'm playing with someone much bigger than me, I have nothing to lose. I'm going for it.
And so overall, underdogs bhi jo aap bol rahe ho, like all of these guys, they've gone through that. Like Ukraine had to wait around 48 hours, I think, about 3 days till the groups got decided. Then they found out that they're going through. Denmark ka jo bhi wo trauma hua tha in the first match day to bounce back and then come back in. ये Czech Republic का और इसका डायनामिक का तो पता नहीं, मतलब because at the end of the day they get to announce themselves as top 4 in Europe, मतलब अगर semi-finals तक पहुंच गए तो ये this I'm sure at least between these two teams it was never in the script to come this long. तो यहाँ तक अगर थोड़ा fearless खेल के पहुंच गए हैं, I doubt they're going to sort of flip the script now and then decide कि आराम से खेलेंगे penalties तक, क्योंकि स्वीडन ने तो I think extra time में खाया था वो extra goal. I think everybody might just turn it around and say that, okay, let's just see through. I think the only teams who have got the maturity to do that are guys like Italy and Spain. Matlab, itna history and then that winning culture is so much part of them that they can sort of script these games. Game management का जो हम लोग बात करते हैं, there's great experience on the pitch as well. लेकिन इधर मेरे को लग रहा है अच्छा मैच हो जाएगा भाई, वो धूम धमाट का ही मतलब all out.
So you're also saying pick of the quarters is Denmark, Czech Republic?
Should be, at least in terms of whatever we've
Belgium,
seen so
Italy,
far.
I don't know, man.
हाँ, मेरे को भी नहीं लग रहा है, सब वेटरन्स खेल रहे हैं तो
एनी भाई बताओ सर, आपकी 5वीं 6ठी टीम कौन सी कहाँ खेल रही है क्वार्टर फाइनल में?
These guys, like Denmark, Czech, obviously, I think for the same reasons that yesterday was of the two games, I would have picked the latter to watch if I had the option of going to the stadium. That it's likely to be the more open of the two, the more sort of exciting of the two in that sense. And the other one is Ukraine, England.
Sorted. Okay.
Going for Ukraine. Bye. Ukraine.
He's going.
भाई England जीतेगा, भाई England जीतेगा.
England जीतेगा. I thought तुम अभी भी emotionally attachment है रशिया के साथ, या all this रशिया टूटा वाला रशिया के साथ है थोड़ा सा.
हाँ भाई. मैं और कहानी निकाल के लाता हूँ.
सर हमारे भाई का बचपन निकला है रशिया में, तो उसका पुराना लगाव है रशिया के साथ. बट आज के लिए भाई बातचीत में इतना ही. अगर आपने सोचा कि एनी भाई ने आज पॉलिटिक्स की बात नहीं करेंगे, वो ले आए थे कहीं ना कहीं, हिस्ट्री ले आए, थोड़ा लेसन उन्होंने आपको दिया है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी लव एनी भाई. Siddhant, Annie, Richard Hood, and Ranadi Singh, guys, thank you so much for joining us. The quarterfinals are upon us, and which means some more cracking games are upon us, which means that every day at 1 p.m. we'll be coming your way talking about the European Championships. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.